Welcome to Lesson 4 of Federal or U.S. taxation, rather. We have been looking at the federal taxes, not yet covered state and local, and in fact those will not be covered in this course. So Lesson 4, Learning Objectives. We have several here. Let's look at them. Define tax-exempt organizations. So that'll be our focus for this class. Coming up will be the tax-exempt, otherwise known as the 501c3, and other variations on that, tax-exempt. Usually we also call these or refer to these as non-profit. Not that they don't actually earn a profit, but that the profit is not paid to investors or shareholders. Rather, the profits are used to expand the operation or to continue the service. Most nonprofits are organizations that are judged to be useful and therefore are in the provenance of government favored or even government owned, as are the schools, for instance. Second learning objective is to give examples of these tax-exempt organizations, which we have done here. It's good to keep in mind a few tangible examples. One important large tax-exempt 501c3 is the Red Cross. The Red Cross is an organization that exists to ensure that there is a constant supply of blood being provided to hospitals and doctors around the country for trauma victims. This blood is collected mostly in the East and West Coast areas. The Red Cross presence in the center of the country is less pronounced. And this is probably because of the population density, mostly. The Red Cross blood donor and storage facility in California is located in Pomona in District 6, the area that I formerly handled as city council member. And so I have some more than passing familiarity with that operation. We'll discuss it. After looking at various additional examples, we will tackle learning objective number 3, understanding organized test and operational test. Organizational tests and operational tests, These are basically services provided by the accounting firm for different organizations, public and private, to test their validity of their organizational structure and the validity of their operations. With government agencies, this can be quite detailed because there is public oversight. And finally, last objective is to distinguish unrelated business income, referred to as UBI. You know how I detest acronyms, but we rehearse them so that we understand that within a given context, in this case, UBI in the context of accounting means unrelated business income. So unrelated to the overall practice of the accountants. The reading assignment is rather simple today. It is to read the following on U.S. taxation, page 40, like and kind exchange, so exchange of non-cash assets that are alike or in kind. Kind is a phrase used with a medieval connotation of being grain. When farmers would bring their grain to the milling site, the miller would grind the grain for them and would accept payment as part of the flour that was yielded from this grinding process. That grain was referred to as an in-kind payment. Secondly, we will read we're going to read that on page 40. Secondly, page 45, we will read the statute of limitations on taxes. And finally, you have as a resource this video. Our discussion questions will be covered in class, and you will get credit for those by entering the phrase discussed in class to show that you were there and participated actively in the discussion. If you should miss class, these discussion questions must be submitted for a grade in writing. Number 1, discussion, the qualifications or what qualifies a firm as an exempt organization. We're talking about here tax exempt. Charitable organizations are not the only form. There are other types of organization that do qualify. We'll take a look at those. Number 2, discuss the activities specifically treated as resulting in related income rather than unrelated income. So, in other words, business income in the case of a tax-exempt organization. What do we do with it? How is that handled? Is that taxed? Or is it transferred to the firm? Very interesting set of questions, highly complicated. We won't possibly exhaust the subject with our brief discussion, so we'll just look at the high points. Discussion question number 3, the tax treatment of unrelated business income compared to business-related income. So here we'll kind of outline for ourselves the specifics of non-business related. So if the tax-exempt organization generates income not related to its main business, how is that handled? And finally, topic number 4, we'll discuss filing requirements for the annual information return of tax-exempt organizations. Notice we call it an annual information return, not a tax return, simply because they are tax exempt. However, the information provided is very similar to that provided in the 4 accounting statements that are typical of the 10K or corporate tax filing. Most, in fact, all tax-exempt organizations are incorporated and so therefore required to report not only to the federal IRS but also to the Securities and Exchange Commission in a limited fashion, and as well to the Accounting Oversight Board and the GAO, the Government Accounting Oversight Board, if they are indeed government organizations. Don't forget the online quiz at the end of the week. Hope you're doing well at these. They are making up the majority of the intent to study this material because they resemble, we hope, those test questions that you will find on the CPA exam. Once you've completed that exam, you are now prepared to begin your career as an accountant offering advice. And certainly along the way you will re-encounter all of these lessons in much greater detail. And by that time you will have hopefully a firmly established set of research and reading and self-teaching skills so that you can proceed through this material and achieve the goal of giving good advice, providing sound attestations, and performing other services for your client firms. Looking forward to seeing you this week. Have a great week and study hard.